Ann Yarbor. She is the coach and owner of the San Diego Run and Tri Club, and she's in studio with us early this morning. Wow, you are looking really spry for someone who less than 24 hours ago was running a marathon and was involved in all of this. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. I've probably had maybe about 10 hours of sleep in the last 3 days total.
Yeah, I bet.
I would think you're running on adrenaline right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you have everything booked because you took the red eye here and that was already booked, or did you change your flight?
I took the red eye Saturday night, got into Boston Sunday, and then left Monday after the race. My flight was booked to leave Boston at 6:30 on Sunday.
So this was the game plan all along?
This was the game plan all along.
To get out of there as fast as possible.
So take us through this. I mean, this is not your first time at the Boston Marathon, right? Your third time. And you ran it in 3 hours and what, 50 some?
3 hours and 57 minutes. I was just planning on requalifying again, and I accomplished that. And what started out to be a wonderful celebration of the 117th Boston Marathon turned out to be of little importance after what happened. And for those of you who've done Boston, and as you cross the finish line, I crossed the finish line, and you have to walk about 50 feet before you get a water, and then you walk about another 50 feet or so before you get your blanket, and then a little further before you get your medal. Well, as they were placing the medal on my neck, I started to walk away, and I heard the first explosion go off, and it was so loud and so powerful that it shook my insides. And I turned in disbelief, and I was looking at the explosion, and a white plume of smoke to my right, to the right of the grandstand. So as you're finishing it, it would have been to the runner's left. Was just filling the air full of white smoke, and
that was the first explosion?
That was the first explosion.
How far down beyond the finish line, I mean, in advance of the finish line?
Probably I was maybe about 200 or 300 meters from the finish line.
Okay, and then
what
how
did you?
long?
I'm sorry.
Well, I just want to know how long thereafter the second one goes, because weren't they simultaneous?
They were simultaneous. I stood there in disbelief, and it was very surreal. People started to run, and myself and a few other people were standing there staring, and as we were staring, all of a sudden I saw the second explosion go off, and that's when I knew I needed to get out of there. So I hurried back. I had 2 other runners from my club that I coached that were there. One of the girls I knew was ahead of me. She's much faster, she finished, but I knew there was one girl still behind me. So as I finished, as I got my medal, I started to walk to get my bag. Got my bag, was texting my husband saying, "You need to turn on the news, something's going on." And then immediately after, my friend who I was waiting for, one of the girls that I coached, I coached her. She qualified in Carlsbad, the Carlsbad Marathon here in San Diego. And I got a text from her husband saying, "I can't find Carrie." And at that moment, I wanted to go back for my runner. And the police at this time were heading towards just running towards the start. Sirens were going off. A police saw me turn back around, and he grabbed me. He said, "You can't go back." And nobody knew what was really going on. We just knew that something was very, very wrong.
Were you nervous at all that there were going to be multiple? I mean, if you hear one bomb go off and then a second right afterwards, I mean, at any point were you like, "I just need to get out of this area"?
At first it was just disbelief. We couldn't really understand what was going on, and like I said, I said, "This isn't normal." I go, "This is my third Boston. I've never seen anything like this happen." And then when I saw the plume of smoke, I knew something was very wrong. And I don't know that I was so nervous as I was just confused. And as I left the finish area, my husband called me back frantic and crying and just glad that I was okay. Right. He said it was all over the news that it was a bombing.
Yeah, I mean, your emotional state at the end of a marathon, who knows where your mind is at that time anyway, right? I mean, you're exhausted, you're beat up, and you're drained.
Right.
And now you got to kind of snap back into reality. And so your instinct was to, let me get out of this area. And first you wanted to go back for your runner.
Right.
Once the cops redirected you, then what did you do thereafter?
Well, then I panicked and started to cry because I wanted to get her, and I felt very helpless. And I asked her husband to please text me if they found her. And then moments later, I don't even know how long it was, my phone was going off the hook. Text message and phone calls, and he did later, probably about 20 minutes later, say that he did find her.
Oh, good.
Did she not get a chance to finish?
She didn't get a chance to finish. She was at mile 25 at the Citco sign when it happened.
Park,
so it's just right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
So, I mean, just, look, I mean, 3 people were killed, lots of people injured, people lost legs and arms. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very, very bad, horrific scene. So, as much as, finishing the race doesn't sound like something important to the masses,
Right.
I'm sure to this person who put all this time and energy
Yeah.
into it, it was very, I'm sure it was really tough on her yesterday. But again, she's okay.
Yes.
She's alive. Listen, thanks for sharing
Yeah,
your story.
thank you very much
I mean,
for
quick
having me.
turnaround. I mean, literally less than 24 hours
Came
ago
in at
in Boston.
midnight.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very
And,
much.